Alpha King lived among Omega's village in hiding until an ancient rune ignited at her touch. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's get back to our main character. Sophia Monroe had always been a quiet presence in her village, nestled deep in the forest where Omegas like her lived in the shadow of their stronger counterparts. Her life had been nothing more than routine, working the fields, mending clothes, and caring for the elderly. She was an outcast, not because she was unwanted, but because she was different. Unlike the other Omegas, Sophia had never fully developed the bond with her wolf, leaving her vulnerable and often overlooked. Her scent was faint, barely detectable to the alphas in the village. It made her invisible in a world where scent was everything. The elders whispered behind her back, the pack boys called her names, and yet, she carried on. She never once complained about the life she led, resigned to the fate that had been chosen for her by the moon goddess. But everything changed the day Leo Thornridge arrived in the village. To Sophia, he was just another stranger, a man with a limp who came from the outskirts of the forest. He had a rugged appearance, with dark hair and eyes like silver moonlight. His clothes were worn and his shoulders hunched as if every step caused him pain. He moved like a man carrying secrets. The villagers accepted him without question, for they were used to strangers passing through. Leo didn't speak much, always keeping to himself. He offered help when needed, lifting heavy loads and chopping wood, always at the right time, always when someone needed him most. Sophia couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this man than met the eye. She saw how the other villagers treated him with respect, even reverence. There was something different about him, something mysterious. It wasn't until the day Sophia found the ancient rune that Leo's true identity was revealed. While wandering the forest, she stumbled upon a strange stone, hidden beneath the roots of an ancient oak tree. The symbols carved into the stone glowed faintly, as if beckoning her to touch them. Curious, she extended her hand, and as her fingers brushed against the surface, a powerful energy surged through her. The rune flickered to life, glowing brightly. Suddenly, the air around her seemed to shift, and she heard footsteps behind her. Turning around, she found Leo standing at the edge of the clearing, his eyes wide with an intensity she had never seen before. His body seemed to radiate a power that made her heart race. He stepped forward, and in that moment, the truth hit her like a wave. Leo wasn't just any stranger. He was the Alpha King, hiding in plain sight among the villagers. "You felt it, didn't you?" he said, his voice low and steady, yet filled with a hidden command. "The rune, it's tied to us. It's the key to who we truly are." Sophia's breath caught in her throat. For a moment, all she could do was stare at him, overwhelmed by the revelation. The Alpha King, the ruler of the packs, had been living among them all this time, hidden beneath a guise. The man she had unknowingly trusted, the man she had felt such a strange connection to, was not just a villager, but a powerful leader. "Why?" she asked, her voice trembling. Leo smiled, though there was a sadness in his eyes. "Because I needed to find you. And now that I have, everything is about to change." His words hung in the air, and for the first time in her life, Sophia felt like she was standing at the edge of something far greater than herself. "I never imagined that the man I had trusted so deeply was hiding such a powerful secret." Leo stood in front of me, his eyes glowing with an intensity one had never seen before. His words echoed in my mind. I needed to find you. The reality of his confession hit me like a thunderclap. The Alpha King, the ruler of all packs, had been living among us, disguised as just another villager. The man who had shared his strength and wisdom with the village was not what he seemed. He was a king, hiding from a world that demanded his rule. The weight of his presence seemed to fill the space between us, and yet, despite the shock, I felt a strange sense of connection, as though his hidden power had always been tied to me in some way. "Why hide?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Leo's gaze softened, and for the first time since I met him, I saw vulnerability in his eyes. "Because I had to. The kingdom is in turmoil, Sophia. and I needed to be sure of you. His words lingered in the air. I didn't understand. What did he mean by sure of me? He stepped closer, the glow in his eyes dimming, replaced by a quiet sorrow. I have watched from the shadows, seen how you live, how you struggle without the bond. You have a power, one that you don't fully understand, but it's there, Sophia. And it's why I had to keep my identity hidden. His words left me speechless. Power? What power could I possibly have? My connection with my wolf was weak, practically non-existent. But there was something in his voice, a conviction that stirred something inside me. I had always felt different, like there was more to me than the world could see. Maybe this was what he meant. The rune, Leo continued, it's not just a symbol. It's part of something greater, something tied to both of us. I've been searching for the key to unlock it, and it's you, Sophia. You are the key. I took a step back, my heart pounding in my chest. Me? How could I possibly be the key? I don't even have a wolf. Leo's expression hardened for a moment, then softened as he gently placed his hand on my shoulder. That's the point. You are more than what you've been told. The bond, the wolf, it's a part of you, but it's not everything. The true power lies in what's inside of you. His words seemed to resonate deep within me. It felt like a spark, a flicker of something awakening, but I still couldn't fully grasp it. I don't understand, I whispered. What do you want from me? Leo's hand remained on my shoulder, his touch warm and grounding. I need you to believe in yourself, Sophia. We need to unlock the ancient rune together. The power that's hidden in it is the only thing that can save us all. My mind raced, and I felt a mixture of fear and awe. How could I, someone who had always felt so insignificant, hold the key to such an ancient, powerful secret? What do you mean, save us all? I asked, looking up at him. Leo's expression darkened as he looked away, his gaze fixed on the distant horizon. The kingdom is fractured. There are forces at play that seek to destroy everything we've worked for. But if we can unlock the rune, if we can harness its power, we might be able to restore balance, to bring peace. I was overwhelmed, unsure of what to say or do. But one thing was clear, my life was no longer my own. I had been thrust into a world I had never imagined, and now, it was up to me to help Leo, the Alpha King, save everything. What do we do now? I asked, my voice trembling with uncertainty. Leo turned back to me, his eyes full of determination. Now we begin. Together. The weight of his words settled on me like a cloak, heavy but necessary. Whatever this was, this bond, this power, it was mine to discover. And I would do it for him. For us. I stood at the edge of the clearing, Leo beside me, as the ancient rune pulsed with energy beneath my fingertips. It was faint, but I could feel it. The power, the connection, growing stronger as I held my hand against the stone. Leo's presence behind me was a constant reminder that this moment, this power, wasn't just mine to bear. It was ours. Focus, Sophia, Leo said, his voice low and steady. His hand brushed my arm, the warmth of his touch sending a jolt of energy through me. The rune reacts to your will, but it needs more. Your belief, your heart, must guide it. I nodded, trying to calm my racing thoughts. I didn't fully understand what was happening, but something deep inside me stirred with anticipation. The rune was waiting for me to accept it, to accept the power within me. I took a slow, steady breath, closing my eyes as I focused on the ancient markings beneath my hand. They seemed to shift and shimmer, glowing brighter with each passing second. It was like the stone itself was alive, breathing with the rhythm of my heartbeat. It's time, Leo murmured, his voice barely above a whisper. Unlock it, Sophia. My heart pounded in my chest as I pressed harder against the rune. I felt a strange warmth spreading through my veins, as though the power within me was waking up, stretching, reaching for something beyond what I knew. The moment my fingers made full contact, a brilliant light exploded from the stone, swirling around me like a storm of energy. My breath caught in my throat as the world around me seemed to blur. I heard Leo's voice, distant but steady, urging me to hold on. Don't let go, Sophia. Let it flow through you. I could feel the power coursing through my body, filling every fiber of my being. It was both terrifying and exhilarating. The rune, the energy, it wasn't just magic, it was a part of me. A part one had never known existed. I can feel it. I whispered, my voice trembling. I feel it inside me. Leo's hand was at my back now, steadying me, but I hardly noticed it. The light surrounding me intensified, a shimmering web of power that connected me to something ancient and vast. It was as if the very earth beneath my feet was alive, responding to the magic that now flowed through my veins. Good, Leo said, his voice thick with emotion. You're doing it. You're unlocking it. The energy around me began to settle, the light dimming, but it didn't fade completely. The air was still thick with power, and I could feel the hum of it inside me, like a new heartbeat, a rhythm I hadn't known was there. What happens now? I asked, my voice barely audible as I turned to face Leo. He was looking at me with something I couldn't quite place. Admiration, pride, maybe even awe. Now, Sophia, we begin. We have to prepare for what comes next. The rune is just the beginning. The real challenge is what we do with it. I nodded, still trying to process everything that had just happened. I had unlocked something, but what did it mean? What was I supposed to do with this newfound power? You're not alone in this, Leo said softly, his hand gently brushing mine. We'll face whatever comes together. I met his gaze, and for the first time, I wasn't afraid. Whatever lay ahead, I knew I wouldn't have to face it alone. The days following the unlocking of the rune passed in a blur of confusion and revelation. Every time I closed my eyes, I could still feel the power that had surged through me, a constant hum deep within my soul. It was as though a part of me that I had never known existed had suddenly awakened, and now, it wouldn't let me rest. Leo was patient, guiding me through the process of understanding this new power. But despite his calm demeanor, I could sense the weight on his shoulders. There was more to this than I could see, and every time he looked at me, I could tell that he was afraid of what would come next. We spent most of our time in the clearing, with the rune as our focus. Leo showed me how to tap into the energy, how to shape it, but it wasn't easy. The power was wild, untamed, and it often felt like I was trying to hold back a storm. Leo never stopped encouraging me, his steady presence a source of comfort as I struggled to control the magic that seemed to want to escape me. You're getting better, Leo said one evening, watching me as I focused on the glowing symbols. But you need to let go. Don't try to control it, Sophia. Let it flow through you. Trust it. I nodded, but inside, doubts churned. What if I couldn't do it? What if I failed? The thought of failing Leo, of failing myself, made my stomach twist in knots. But I couldn't let him see my fear. Not now. I closed my eyes, taking a deep breath, and let go. For a moment, everything was still. The world around me faded, and I felt the energy, raw and powerful, swirling around me like a living thing. It was different this time. I didn't try to control it. I simply let it be. And in that moment, I felt the connection, not just to the rune, but to something much larger, something ancient. The energy surged, and I could feel the magic at my fingertips, ready to be shaped, ready to be used. I opened my eyes, and the clearing was bathed in a soft light, the symbols on the stone glowing brighter than ever before. I turned to Leo, who was watching me with an expression I couldn't quite read. His eyes softened as he took a step toward me. You did it, he said quietly, his voice filled with awe. You've learned to connect with it. I felt a surge of pride, but it was short-lived. There was still so much I didn't understand. What did this power mean for me? What was I supposed to do with it? Leo seemed to sense my confusion, and his face grew serious. This power is not just a gift, Sophia. It's a responsibility. There are others who will want to use it. There are dangers ahead, and you will need to be ready to face them. The weight of his words settled over me like a heavy blanket. My mind raced with the implications. Dangers? Who else knew about the rune, about the power it held? Leo's gaze hardened as he looked into the distance, as if seeing something I couldn't. There are forces at work, Sophia, he said, his voice low and filled with resolve. Forces that would stop at nothing to control this power. And they will come for you. They will come for both of us. The air around us seemed to grow colder as his words sank in. I swallowed hard, the reality of the situation settling in. This wasn't just about unlocking a hidden power. It was about surviving a world that was now aware of what I could do. And the thought of that terrified me. But despite the fear, something else stirred inside me. A determination, a spark that had always been there, but had been buried beneath the weight of my doubts and insecurities. I had come this far, and I couldn't stop now. Not when there was so much at stake. I looked up at Leo, my heart steadying with a newfound resolve. "I'll be ready," I said, my voice stronger than I felt. Leo gave me a small, approving smile, though I could still see the concern in his eyes. "I know you will be. But remember, we faced this together." His words were a promise, a bond between us that went beyond the magic we shared. I nodded, feeling the weight of the promise settle between us. We were in this together. And no matter what came next, I knew I wouldn't face it alone. I woke up the next morning, the soft light filtering through the trees and casting long shadows across the clearing. The air was cool, and I could still feel the lingering hum of power that had surged through me the night before. It was strange, like a part of me was changed, something deep inside had shifted, and I was no longer the same person I had been when I first arrived here. Leo had already risen before me, his figure standing in the distance as he surveyed the land. He looked more like the Alpha King today than ever before, his posture strong and commanding, despite his calm demeanor. I couldn't help but watch him, the weight of his presence still settling over me, even after all this time. "You're up early," I said, my voice still thick with sleep. Leo turned, his eyes softening when they landed on me. "The morning is the best time to think. The world is quieter, more peaceful." He smiled, a rare sight, but it made something inside me stir. "There's much to prepare for," he added, his tone turning serious. "You're learning the magic, but there's more we need to do." The rune was just the beginning. His words echoed in my mind, and I felt the heavy weight of his statement. I wasn't sure if I was ready for whatever was coming next, but I knew that I didn't have a choice. I had to be. "What comes next?" I asked, stepping closer. Leo took a deep breath and turned back to face me. "Now that you've unlocked the rune, you need to understand its full power. There are others who will try to use it, control it, and they will stop at nothing to get it." My heart skipped a beat, and I felt the sudden weight of responsibility pressing down on me. The power was mine, but it was also a target. I had to learn to control it. "What do we do now?" I asked, trying to steady my nerves. Leo's expression softened, and he placed a hand on my shoulder. "We train. We prepare. The power within you is ancient, Sophia, but it needs to be harnessed. It won't obey you unless you truly understand it." His voice was steady, reassuring, but I could see the flicker of concern in his eyes. This was more than just a lesson for me. It was a race against time. "We'll start with the basics," Leo continued. "Focus on your breath, on the connection to the earth beneath you. Feel the magic, let it flow through you." I closed my eyes, taking a deep breath, and immediately, I felt it. The familiar hum of energy that I had come to associate with the rune. But this time, it was stronger. It wasn't just around me. It was inside me, pulsing through my veins. I focused, letting the energy rise, drawing it into me like a river flowing through my body. It was both exhilarating and overwhelming. "Good." Leo's voice came from beside me, and I felt the pressure of his presence next to mine. "Now, imagine the energy is a part of you. Not just something you control, but something that flows naturally through you. You are not its master, Sophia. You are its equal." His words were simple, yet they made something inside me shift. I focused harder, trying to feel the magic as a part of me, to stop seeing it as something separate. And then, for the briefest of moments, I felt it. A connection, deep and powerful, like I had tapped into something greater than myself. "That's it," Leo said, his voice proud but still filled with caution. "You're beginning to understand. But remember, this is just the beginning." I nodded, my heart pounding in my chest. This was real. The power was real, and it was mine. But I knew that the challenges ahead would not be easy. There were forces out there who would do anything to take this power from me, to take everything from Leo and me. The path ahead was uncertain, and yet, for the first time, I felt like I could face it. "We'll do whatever it takes," I said, meeting Leo's gaze with newfound determination. He smiled at me, his eyes softening. Together, he agreed. And with that, I knew we were ready for whatever came next. I spent the next few days training with Leo, focusing on harnessing the magic that flowed through me. Every morning, we would meet in the clearing, where he would guide me through exercises to strengthen my control over the power within me. It wasn't easy. The magic felt unpredictable, like a wild force that I couldn't always contain. Sometimes, it surged out of me with a force that made the ground beneath my feet tremble. Other times, it was as if The energy had disappeared, leaving me frustrated and uncertain. Leo was patient, always guiding me with steady words and calm encouragement. "You're doing well," he would say, even when I felt like I was failing. His belief in me was unwavering, and with each passing day, I began to believe in myself too. As the days went on, I started to notice small changes. The magic no longer felt like something foreign. It felt like it belonged to me, like it was a part of who I was. I could feel it pulsing within me, responding to my thoughts and intentions. But even as I grew more confident, I knew that the real test was still ahead. We were preparing for something that would test everything I had learned. Leo had been quiet about what was to come, but I could sense his concern growing with each passing day. One evening, as we sat beside the fire, I finally asked, "What are we really preparing for, Leo? What's coming?" He looked at me, his expression serious, and for the first time, I saw the weight of the burden he carried. There are those who will stop at nothing to control the magic. They know what it can do, and they will try to take it from you. I felt a chill at his words. The idea that there were people out there who wanted to use the magic for their own purposes made my stomach twist. "Who are they?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Leo took a deep breath, his eyes darkening with the weight of the knowledge. "There are factions within the packs. Some want power. Others seek control over the magic. And then there are those who would destroy everything to prevent the balance from being restored." His words sent a shiver down my spine. I had no idea how deeply the conflict ran, or how dangerous it could be. "What should we do?" I asked, trying to steady my racing heart. Leo's gaze softened, but his resolve never wavered. "We'll protect the magic," he said firmly. "We'll protect you, and we'll face whatever comes, together." His words filled me with a sense of purpose, but also fear. I didn't know what we were truly up against, but I trusted Leo, and I knew that with him by my side, I could face whatever was coming. The next few days passed in preparation. Leo taught me more about the magic, about how to use it to defend myself, to protect the things I loved. He was always there, guiding me, supporting me. But there were moments when I saw the doubt in his eyes, moments when I realized just how dangerous this fight would be. The night before we left, I couldn't sleep. The fear of the unknown gnawed at me, and the weight of responsibility felt heavier than ever. Leo had always been the strong one, the one who carried the burden. But now it was my turn. I had to protect the magic, protect myself, and protect the world that depended on it. I stood by the window, staring out at the moonlit forest. The air was thick with anticipation, and I could feel the energy around me, humming, waiting. I turned when I heard Leo approach. He stood in the doorway, his expression unreadable. "Are you ready?" he asked quietly. I nodded, though my heart was racing. "As ready as I'll ever be." Leo stepped forward, his hand resting lightly on my shoulder. "We're in this together, Sophia. No matter what happens, we face it side by side." His words steadied my nerves, and I felt a surge of determination. Together, we would face whatever came. And I wouldn't back down. Not now. Not ever. I stood at the edge of the forest, the cool night air brushing against my skin as I looked toward the distant horizon. Leo was beside me, his presence strong and steady as ever. The quiet that surrounded us felt like a warning, the calm before the storm. I could feel the weight of what was coming, the anticipation thick in the air. We had been preparing for days, but now, as we stood on the precipice of whatever challenge lay ahead, I couldn't help but feel the gravity of the situation pressing down on me. "Are you ready?" Leo asked, his voice low, yet full of resolve. I turned to him, meeting his gaze. His eyes were filled with determination, but I could see the concern there too. This wasn't just about me anymore. This was about all of us. "I'm ready," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. Leo gave me a small nod, his lips curling into a rare, reassuring smile. "We'll face it together, just like we've always said." His words gave me strength, but the nerves still churned inside me. The truth was, I wasn't sure what we were walking into. There were so many unknowns, and the forces that sought to control the magic were not easily defeated. Yet, as I stood beside him, I realized I had no choice but to move forward. For Leo, for the magic, and for the future we could still shape. Leo reached out, his hand brushing mine, and I felt the spark of connection between us. It wasn't just the magic we shared, it was something deeper. Something that had grown stronger with each passing day. "No matter what happens," Leo said softly, his grip tightening slightly. "We're in this together. You're not alone in this fight, Sophia." His words echoed in my mind, a promise that I would hold on to. I nodded, squeezing his hand in return. "I know." The clearing before us was bathed in the silver light of the moon, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch toward us. The energy around us was palpable, and I could feel the rune deep within me, pulsing with power. The magic was ready to be wielded, but I had to learn to control it fully. As we moved forward, I focused on the energy, pulling it toward me, letting it flow through my veins. It responded to my call, swirling around me like a protective barrier. For the first time, I felt completely in control, the magic no longer wild and unpredictable. It was mine, and with it, I knew I could face whatever lay ahead. Leo stopped at the edge of the clearing, his eyes scanning the forest. "They're close," he murmured, his tone grim. I could feel it too. The tension in the air, the sense that we were being watched. Something was coming, and we had to be ready. I drew a steadying breath, my hand tightening around the magic within me. Leo looked at me, his expression softening. "You're ready," he said, as if reading my thoughts. I nodded, though a part of me still felt uncertain. But I couldn't let that show. We had trained for this, and now was the time to face what was coming. Together, as the first figure emerged from the shadows, I felt the magic surge inside me, ready to protect. Leo stepped forward, standing beside me, his presence unwavering. This was it, the moment we had been preparing for. And no matter what came, we would face it side by side. The figure emerged from the shadows, tall and imposing, with an air of power that made the hair on the back of my neck stand on end. The moonlight illuminated his features, sharp and calculating, his eyes glowing with an intensity that made me instinctively step closer to Leo. My heart pounded in my chest, the magic within me thrumming in response to the presence of this stranger. Leo stood firm beside me, his hand brushing mine, as if grounding me in the moment. The tension in the air was thick, and I could feel the weight of the situation pressing down on me. The stranger took another step forward, his eyes never leaving us. He was clearly no ordinary man. "You've come a long way, Leo," he said, his voice smooth but laced with an undeniable menace. I glanced at Leo, his jaw tightening at the sound of the man's voice. "What do you want?" Leo's tone was cold, measured. The stranger smiled, but it was not a smile that reached his eyes. "I want what belongs to me. The magic. The power you've been hiding, Leo. And the girl." My breath caught in my throat. The magic. I knew what he meant. It was the power that surged through me, the ancient force that had been awakened. The rune, the connection, it was what they were after. "You're not taking her," Leo growled, his stance widening, protective. The man's smile grew wider, though there was no warmth in it. "We'll see about that." I felt a sudden chill in the air, the magic inside me reacting instinctively. Leo's hand moved to my back, as though sensing the same shift. "Stay behind me," he whispered, his voice low but firm. I nodded, though my pulse raced. I wasn't sure what to do, but I knew Leo was right. The power I had unlocked was dangerous, and I was the only one who could control it. The man took another step, his gaze never leaving mine. "You're not what you seem, Sophia," he said, his eyes narrowing. "You've awakened the magic, but you don't know how to wield it. You'll never be able to control it. And that's why you belong to me." I stood tall, despite the fear that gripped my chest. "I don't belong to anyone," I said, my voice shaking but defiant. The man's eyes flashed with something darker. "You will, one way or another." The air around us seemed to vibrate with energy, the tension so thick it was almost tangible. Leo's hand tightened around mine, and I could feel his power, his confidence, flowing into me. It was as though he was trying to shield me from the storm that was brewing between us. The man's smile faded, replaced by a more dangerous expression. "You're not the first to try and stop me, Leo," he said, his voice growing colder. "And you won't be the last." I could see the way Leo tensed, the way his eyes hardened as if he was preparing for something. The man before us wasn't just a threat, he was a warning. He wasn't here to negotiate or reason. He was here to take what he wanted, and nothing would stop him. "We won't let you have it," Leo said, his voice unwavering. "And we won't let you have her." The man chuckled darkly, his eyes glinting with malice. "We'll see about that, won't we?" And with that, the world around us seemed to shift, the air thickening with the promise of a battle that none of us were prepared for. But I wasn't afraid. Not anymore. I had the magic, and I would learn how to control it. For Leo, for myself, and for whatever was coming next. The tension in the air was palpable, every nerve in my body alive with the power that hummed within me. The man before us had shown no sign of backing down, his gaze locked onto Leo and me, as if daring us to make a move. I could feel the weight of the magic inside me, thrumming like a living thing, waiting for my command. Leo stood beside me, his stance firm, but I could see the determination in his eyes. We were both ready for whatever was coming next. "You don't understand what you're dealing with," Leo said, his voice steady, despite the growing threat. The man's smirk deepened. "I understand more than you think, Leo. This power is mine to control, and I'm not leaving without it." The words were a challenge, but Leo didn't flinch. "You're wrong. It doesn't belong to you." I felt Leo's hand brush mine again, a silent reminder that we were in this together. The magic surged within me, responding to his touch, to his words, and I knew that this moment would decide everything. The man took a step forward, and I could feel his energy pushing against mine, testing my strength. "You think you can protect her? Protect this power?" he sneered. "You're weak, Leo. You always have been." My heart pounded in my chest, but I forced myself to focus. Leo was not weak, and neither was I. The magic that flowed through me was powerful, and I had to believe that I could control it. "You're wrong," I said, my voice trembling but resolute. The man's eyes flickered to me, surprised. "What did you say?" "I said you're wrong," I repeated, louder this time. The energy around me began to shift, the magic stirring at my command. It wasn't a wild force anymore. It was mine. "This power doesn't belong to you, and I won't let you take it." The man's expression shifted, a mixture of disbelief and anger flashing across his face. He took another step forward, but I stood my ground, my hand held out in front of me. The air around me crackled with energy, and I could feel the magic building, responding to my will. Leo stepped closer to me, his hand resting gently on my shoulder. "Together," he whispered, his voice filled with unwavering certainty. I nodded, drawing strength from him. We were in this together, and nothing would take that away. The man hesitated for a moment, as if sensing the shift in the air, the power that was now fully under my control. "You think you can stop me?" he growled, his eyes narrowing. "I don't think I can stop you," I said, my voice calm and steady. "I know I can." With that, I focused all the energy within me, willing the magic to bend to my command. The ground beneath us trembled, and the clearing seemed to pulse with a power that had not been there before. The man's eyes widened in shock as the energy around me surged, wrapping around him like a cage. "No," he shouted, his hands reaching out as if to break free. But it was too late. The magic responded to my will, and I felt the rush of power as it held him in place, his movements frozen. Leo stepped forward, his hand still on my shoulder, his gaze never leaving me. "It's over," he said quietly. The man struggled against the magic, but it was useless. "You can't take this power," Leo added, his voice firm, resolute. "Not from her. Not from anyone." The man's eyes burned with rage, but there was nothing he could do. The magic had spoken. It had chosen. And I had won. As the energy began to dissipate, leaving only the faintest trace of power in the air, I felt a sense of relief wash over me. The battle was over, but the journey was far from finished. Leo turned to me, his expression softening. "You did it," he said, his voice filled with pride. "You controlled it. You controlled the magic." I nodded, still catching my breath. "We did it," I corrected him. Leo smiled, and for a moment, everything felt right. Together, we had faced the impossible, and together, we had won.